Hey everyone, I hope you're well. So you've seen the title. A while back I made a video reacting to INFJ memes because that's my MBTI, and I enjoyed it so much, so I decided to make a part 2. But before we start, a few things. In my previous video I included a picture of this guy talking to a wall, and the caption was trying to explain to an extrovert that you enjoy spending time alone. Now, this isn't to say that just because you're an extroverted personality, you just don't get it. Yes, some people have trouble understanding how others function, but this isn't the case for everyone. And all personality types have their strengths and weaknesses. We all bring something of value to the table. Also, I tried to use very specific language. I said I'm an INFJ, which means I lean more towards intuition, feeling, but that doesn't mean that I don't exercise other parts of my brain. All right, we'll get into the memes. Thank you to the following accounts for providing this content. I'll link them in the description as well. When too many people you know from different places come together and you have to maintain the personality you've created for each one at the same time. I think this is the case for most people to some degree. If you've worked in customer service, no matter what your personality type, you have a customer service voice. It reminds me of this book I read years ago when I was back in high school. It's called Letters from the Inside by John Marsden, and the story is told via letters exchanged between these two teenage girls. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact quote, but one of the characters mentioned the phrase two-faced, and she said she really felt that she had 1,000 faces. This really resonated with me because in my last video I talked about matching energies and how my accent changed quite significantly when I lived in Vancouver, and I'd only been there for a year. Now, thinking about it, I committed probably one of the biggest sins in writing, which is telling, not showing. To give you an idea of just how much my accent started to shift, here's a clip from my previous YouTube channel. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. My plan is to edit everything over the next few weeks. There's a lot to go through, so I don't know how long it will take. It's crazy. I mean, I packed so much into 3 days, and even though I filmed quite a bit, there's so much else that I would like to talk about, but I feel like this video would just go on and on and on. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. It's kind of weird watching that clip because I feel like I'm seeing a different person, and in a way I am, because I guess every day you're always a little bit different from the person you were the previous day. It can be kind of problematic because then you just have this existential crisis. Who am I? Am I just a blank canvas? A protagonist in a YA novel? I have an obsession with quotes because other people are so much better at putting my feelings into words than I am. Yes, a barely noticeable change in tone. Me, is this a clear declaration of unbridled hatred towards me? I feel this way constantly, and it's especially tricky when it comes to Messenger, for example, because that's where most of my socializing takes place. Some of my friends, family, co-workers, they're pretty consistent across the board, but it's not the case for everyone. For example, one of my former co-workers was really extroverted, chatty, smiley, bubbly, and this didn't really translate to the written word, so initially messages could come across a little bit blunt, but I soon realized that that's just kind of how she operated. Now, sometimes your intuition can be correct, and it's something INFJs are really good at. They can pick up when something's wrong, when there's a change in tone, and I think this can be really helpful in terms of building and maintaining solid relationships. On the flip side, if you start overanalyzing and overthinking things, as I certainly do, you can get into this whole downward spiral of, oh, they seem really mad, is it something I did? When in reality, it might not have anything to do with you. Like, unbridled hatred? Come on, let's not get carried away. Just a heads up, I'm probably going to be moving around quite a bit in this video because I'm sitting on the ground and it's super uncomfortable. Learn to differentiate between the sound of your intuition guiding you and your traumas misleading you. I just think this is excellent advice for everyone. Bad experiences from the past can definitely shape your decision making in future, and I have, I guess, a bit more of a trivial example. So back in 2012, I was living in LA, and one day I went to lunch with some friends. One of my friends got salmon, and I'm fairly certain I had never tried it before. If I did, it would have been when I was super young. But my palate at that time, I kind of doubt it. Like, one of my favorite things as a child was tomato sauce on hot dog buns. My friend gives me a little bit of salmon to try, and it was super salty. I really didn't like it. So fast forward to 2019, I'm living with a couple, and they were trying out a few of those meal prep kit subscriptions. One evening it was me and one of my flatmates. His other half had gone out for the night. So as a result, I got the other portion of one of the meals. The main ingredient was salmon, and I was a little bit apprehensive at first, but the allure of free food. You guys, it was so good, just really soft and light. It's a bit of a shame because I'm a vegetarian now, but all those years that I wasn't, all those salmonless years, I've seen a bunch of posts about MBTI personalities as movie characters, and I was really excited about this one specifically because the first photo is Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. The Nightmare Before Christmas is such a classic. I got a photo with Jack and Sally when I went to Disneyland a few years ago. I've cosplayed as Sally a couple of times. It was actually the reason I dyed my hair red in the first place, and I got so many compliments, so I just decided to keep dyeing my hair. Like, it's just perfect. So that's cool, right? And I was like, who do we have next? I don't want to spoil it for anyone if you haven't read the book or seen the movie, but Amy is a very intense character. I think it's such a good reminder that you need to acknowledge all the different forms your personality type can take. When you realize that you love spending time by yourself because you are a complete and interesting person on your own. I love this one so much. It's just very wholesome. I really enjoy spending time on my own and being independent. Traveling was just amazing because I got to see and do so much cool stuff. It would have been nice to have a travel buddy, but sometimes things just don't work out that way. Plus, something I found quite annoying when I was in LA. Okay, so I would be chatting with a group of friends, talking about, oh, there's this really cool event happening, we should totally go. And at the time, people would say, yeah, that sounds amazing. They would show all this enthusiasm. And then when you would like follow up closer to the time, more often than not, people would bail. So I just kind of got to the point where I was like, if I want to do something, then I'll make it happen. And it was really cool having the opportunity to explore the world and have all these really interesting experiences. Now, that doesn't mean that I want to do everything on my own. The other weekend, I went to Armageddon with my cousin, and it just so happens that one of the artists had the Squirtle on a keyring, so of course I bought it. I don't want it to get damaged, so currently I just have it displayed with a couple of other keyrings on my notice board. When you go into deep conversation with someone who understands. This image is so great because to me, it perfectly captures that feeling of fulfillment and companionship. People don't always want to go into deep discussions. If that's not your thing, totally fine. But I cannot do small talk. I realized that it's part of the reason I hate Tinder and Bumble, just online dating in general. The conversations were consistently very surface level and I just lost interest. It was this constant cycle of, okay, I'll go on, I'll see what's happening. And then I just wouldn't really get anywhere. So then I would delete the app, lather, rinse, repeat. Over and over again, it was just the same thing. Hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. How was your day? It was good. How was your day? It was good. What do you do for work? I do this. What do you do for work? I do this. How many siblings do you have? I have 3. How many siblings do you have? I have 2. And it just went on and on like that. And I was, my immediate thought was, am I in the bad place? I can totally acknowledge that this is probably the reason why I'm still single. You never know. Maybe if I chatted to people a little bit longer or met them in person, it would be a little bit different. But of course, with lockdown and everything that's happening in the world at the moment, it's just hasn't really been an option. But I have heard that a lot of people started doing dates on Zoom and stuff, that's pretty cute. Deeply relational but easily peopled out. The INFJ is like a fast burning candle with an intense flame. Truer words have never been spoken. It's part of the reason I started moving away from customer service roles. There are many reasons, but this was absolutely one of them. Because when you're in a role that just has people the whole day, 5 days a week, it's incredibly draining. And at the end of the day, I was so exhausted, and it sucks because then you don't have the energy for all the other aspects of your life. Me explaining my way of thinking to normal people. Being an INFJ can be very alienating. In all seriousness, I think this meme does a really good job of capturing that disconnect when you're trying to explain how you see the world and how you function. There's definitely been occasions, particularly when I'm upset, and I'm just met with confusion, I'm dismissed, or my thoughts, feelings, opinions are bulldozed. It's very frustrating, so I understand. Having said all that, I find it really interesting, some of the language that's being used here. It implies that as INFJs, we are unique, special individuals, while everyone else is just normal. And what even is normal? If we delved into that discussion, we'd be here all day. It's a bit unfortunate because I would argue that some of these posts fall into the I'm not like other girls category. This actually brings me to the last meme we'll be looking at today. Everyone else, you guys always act like you're better than me. ENTP, INFJ, INTJ. This post is just so funny to me. I can't speak to the other personality types because I haven't done my research, but INFJs, we need to have a chat. I looked at a bunch of different posts for this video, and I can certainly understand why there's this perception that we think we're above it all. For example, there are sides to me you could never understand. I'm sorry, but it must be said, it can come off a little bit pretentious. As I said earlier, all personality types have their strengths and weaknesses. It's important to acknowledge the whole package, because I know for me, I'm all about self-improvement. The first thing that comes to mind is that I'm trying to always be the best version of myself. Okay, that's it for today's video. I'm so relieved that I'm done with filming because I've been sitting here for 2 hours, my back is sore, and my ties have come untied. Have a good rest of your day.